Hey everyone, welcome back to the Business, Life, and Morris podcast. If you guys can please share, subscribe, and like and share this podcast with everybody you know and help support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. But today I am so excited to be interviewing someone that is such a valuable person to me. Her name is RosaLinda Ramirez. She has over 30 years in the mortgage and real estate industry. RosaLinda, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. A little nervous being on camera, but otherwise perfect.
Excellent, excellent. So I want to jump like right into it. If you could just give everybody just a kind of a quick, brief background of what you do and what makes you such a valuable person to the world of business as well.
Okay. Well, I'm Rosalinda Ramirez with Realty World and C2 Financial. I am a broker for real estate. What makes me unique is basically the fact that I do both mortgages and real estate. So I can walk a person through from taking an application to pre-qualifying them to helping them know their payments, their closing costs, so that they know moving forward, what they want to buy, what price range they're in, what their numbers look like. So it's not such a frightening experience once you find the home of your dreams. For the seller side, what makes me different is I can actually do the same in making sure a person is qualified who put in an offer on your home. So for the seller, that makes a huge difference because now I can say, yes, I've reviewed the credit, I've reviewed the income. I know they're qualified based on their numbers. So yeah, this is a great person to negotiate with.
Excellent. All right. So now um, we're going to deep dive right into it. With over 30 years of experience in the real estate and mortgage banking, what key changes have you seen throughout those 30 years, and how did you adapt to it?
There's lots of changes, obviously. There's just a constant change in real estate. One being technology, obviously. Technology has made tremendous changes in real estate. I would say it is a good and a bad altogether in many aspects, but it's great in the fact that you can go online, you can look at multiple properties because now for the seller and the buyer, if you're in another state, you can look in, I say you're in New York, you can look in California, you can see what's out there. You have an idea of where pricing is, what's out in the market, kind of gives you a brief view into what's going on in a different market, in a different state, in a different city, whatever that might be for you that you're looking for. You could do that whether you're looking for investment property, residential property, or commercial property. So it really is a great concept in that aspect. Where I find there's some difficulty in that is, Johnny, you've experienced this, I'm sure. When you were looking for your home and you look at pictures online, you walk into that property. Is it the same?
No.
Not,
No.
not always, with technology. I mean, we have instant gratification of, oh, okay, yeah, this is it. This is the perfect home. You walk in and ta-da, wow, I didn't see that hole in the wall. I didn't know that these pictures were touched up. I didn't know that they staged it um, on picture, but not when I walk into the home. It's it's a magical world out there. So, with that being said, I think that makes a difference. So, the other part that is could be difficult for buyers and sellers is the fact that you think that you can go online to Zillow and Redfin, which are the ones that have everybody's properties on their social media, but
Mhm.
when you go to their websites, their values are not what they are. They're giving you
Oh,
approximate values, but you don't know how much upgrades have been made to that house, how many additions have made, landscaping. So there's quite a bit of difference in it. So I think for me, I'd say technology has been the biggest, along with social media, and the fact that people do want that instant gratification, pushing a button, and that's mine. And it's not that simple.
Okay, so let's talk as some people know, and you obviously helped me get the legacy house that we're currently in right now. When people go on, because me and my wife we were a part of that group as well, looking on Redfin, looking on Zillow, going back and forth, going out with the real estate agent. My wife looking at a property, and we're like, oh, we get our hopes up high. It looks great. We get there, and then it's completely 180, right? So with that said, how in this current market, or in the past, how many sales do you think are lost because of that misinformation, I would say, due to technology?
I wouldn't say sales are actually lost, but
Mhm.
what does happen is more the fact that you have to bring people into reality and
Okay.
getting people to accept true reality versus social media reality, if that makes any sense. So let me just kind of walk you through something like this is, oh, wow, this kitchen looks nothing like what I saw. The front entrance doesn't look anything like I saw. So now, as a realtor, we have to come in and say, okay, no, it's not perfect. It is not what the pictures showed. However, let's look at the bare bones of the property. Let's look at this. You know, hopefully by the time that we are taking you out, we have an idea as a realtor. We've made the interview with you saying, what is it you're looking for? Not only how many bedrooms, baths, but do you need a certain size living room to fill your, do you have a piano? Do you have large furniture? Does your living room have to be a certain size? Are you a cook? Do you love to cook? Do you need a huge kitchen? There are things that we already know about you. So we're going to walk in and we're going to go help you envision
Yes.
your dream into this property. So we
Right.
have to, now let's look at it. If you're at the top of your your game here and you're on your highest price point and you're going, I don't have that extra money.
Mhm.
Now I have to bring you back and show you properties that may not be everything you want,
Back
but
to
then
reality.
we have to take you in and go, okay, you're right. We are at the top of your price range. Now let's take a step back. Where can we modify? What can you give up? What's one, two, three on your list? And what can you say, I can work with this. Yep, to take you back. That's hard for a lot of people.
Mhm. In the past, off camera, and us meeting weekly, we talked about getting real estate for investment strategies for retirement. Can you share a success story that one of your clients in the past, or someone that you're currently working with, that you strategize to have an investment property but purchase towards their retirement though?
Yes. So this is a fun story, and I think this is one of my favorites to share. So I sat down with these clients. They were a referral to me. And I sat down, asked them what they wanted, and pre qualified them. I did both the mortgage and the real estate side. So in this particular case, but I was able to sit down, go over numbers with them, and I asked them short and long term goals. They wanted to eventually get a nicer house and invest and have for retirement. So we came up with a plan. So they did not have a lot of down payment. They had closing costs, but they didn't have a lot of down payment. So it's either one or the other. So I got them into a down payment program. So we literally did a timeline. In 2 years we do this, and by 5 years we do this, and so on. So then I took them into the first property with a down payment assistance program. 2 years later, we put him into another property, which they converted into a duplex. Kept that property, rented it, bought another property, and used that to live in. And so you have to kind of change. You got to work with someone who knows that the property that they buy isn't going to be the property that they may stay in forever. So you're not going to buy with the mindset of, oh, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. You're going to say, no, this is going to make a great rental and this is the purpose. So then we went into that. So then we went into the next property and did the same thing and moved forward. So to this date, I have sold these people 6 properties and worked
Oh,
both
wow.
sides of the table for them. And every time they come up with a new idea that they want to work with, we sit down and we go over all their numbers with them and their goals, and we look at options. So I don't say you need to do this or you need to do this. These are your options. Which one seems more reasonable to you? And then we move forward with it.
Okay.
So the way it works for retirement is that when you keep your properties and you have somebody else paying your mortgage, number one, you're creating equity in your home. That equity in your home for future, as you can see in the last 3 years, what rents have increased to. I mean, people are paying $3,500 a month for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's 12 or 1,400 square feet and more.
Yeah.
How many
Especially
people
in
can
San Diego.
actually afford that? I mean, let's be real. And if you're not even owning the property, it's tough. So what we're trying to do is show you that when you build that equity, you're getting passive income. You're not maybe making money initially, a lot of money when you start off in this investment property. But when
Mhm.
you go to retire 10 and 20 years down the line, now that property is either 100% paid off or 20%, 80% paid off. And now you're making money off your property, and that is going to supplement your Social Security, your IRA, your uh, whatever retirement plan you're in.
Mhm.
So
And
that is huge.
that kinda, I would say that all kind of depends on what kind of tenants you have. Because from on my side, I hear a lot of horror stories of people like buying houses, but the tenants turn out to be not the best person. And I hear all these stories about squatters and messing up the properties and things like that, especially in our state of California. We know how, especially in the San Diego real estate market and rental market. I know before we moved into our brand new home, we were paying basically someone's mortgage. We were paying, sheesh, I think 3,500. Like you said, for a 3-bedroom apartment in that area where where I didn't want to live at. But it's all good. So let's do this. So you have a dual license. You have your mortgage side license, and you have your broker license. And I think you spoke about this a little bit ago. But with having those two different licenses and two different businesses, am I correct? Those are pretty much different. In detail, and a little bit more specific detail, how can those two licenses come together to get you more ahead of whatever your competition is, or the next person down the street, instead of
Okay.
working with two different businesses, working with one solo? How does someone have an advantage of going just to you with that uniqueness of your business?
Okay. Well, as a real estate broker, okay, we need a real estate license as well as for a mortgage lender. You also need a real estate license. So it's the same real estate license for both in
Okay.
one aspect. Okay. So we need it for both sides. As a broker, it gives me the ability of being able to use these two licenses because the mortgage side requires a separate license on top of that. So now I have a mortgage license that is unique to the mortgage world. So I am every year renewing my license in the mortgage industry and We renew our licenses every 3 to 4 years on our real estate license. So we have to have constant education. Number one, that is key. When I decided, because I started off in the banking and mortgage industry through banking, and then went into mortgage brokering, and then went into real estate. And because I am bilingual, I speak Spanish and English, I was noticing that I was explaining the realtor's job as a mortgage broker, or going over contracts with clients and helping explain them because realtors couldn't explain it in Spanish and so forth. So that's what made me want to go for my broker's license, so that if I'm going to be doing both jobs, I should be paid for doing both jobs and working through and helping people. So you had wanted to know, how does that help the next person, or why should someone work with me? Well, first of all, I am not selling 100 houses a year, because I do both sides of the transaction. I don't need to do 100 homes a year personally, because for me, it's about enjoying who I work with and being able to see your dream as a buyer or seller come true. To me, that's my gratification. So the more time I have to spend with you to get you to do what you need to do, I'm not saying I want to spend 3 years to get you one home, but I want to spend that time helping you create wealth through your real estate investment, whatever that might be. It might be just to live in it for future. It might be to invest and move up, or purchase investment property, but I can walk you through from A to Z. So I can take you from taking your application to closing your transaction and preparing you for the next one.
Okay.
So I think that's what makes me unique.
Okay, that's awesome. With and I personally don't know much at all about the real estate market or business or anything. I have other friends that do that, obviously yourself as well. My business obviously is a little bit different than what yours does, but I know I stay up on top of the latest trends. I pivot as much as I possibly can. I stay educated. I know you do the same. You just said you take all these courses and everything to stay on top of yours. But what other strategies do you have, maybe daily, monthly, to keep your team above, up to your level as well, so you guys still could be like high producers?
Well, like most professional, whether you're an athlete or a business person, I do coaching. So I get coached on a regular basis. I get coached weekly. And I also coach my agents. I only have a couple agents. I'm a very small business. I'm not looking to have 50 agents, because to me, personal care, taking care of your client, is more important to me than having multiple agents out there. So coaching, basically coaching, and coaching requires me to take an interest in what they want. So so one of the things is knowing what your agent wants. Okay. Is this a part-time job? Is this a full-time job? Am I just trying to make money for just to take an extra vacation a year? Or, you know what? I'm trying to sustain my family with this. So that's number one. So I have to know my agents. And then we take it to the next level as to making goals. So we sit down together, make goals, and then I take them through classes. Okay, here are the classes we need to take. They need to stay up on their licenses every 3 years as well. So it is then the next step is taking the classes you need to get you to the next level. And I will also walk my agents through the shadow me. And then I will walk them through contracts. I mean, contracts are key. Most agents, you will note, do not even go over a contract with you. They send you by email. This is one of the things about technology, which is great. that we can send you the contract. But if we're not going to go over the contract with you and asking you to sign 16 pages, it's a little overwhelming because you don't know what you're signing. So for me, educating my agents is the number one goal.
Okay. What for someone that's looking to get into the business of real estate, what 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 is one piece of advice that you would give them of a young professional that wants to get in?
Again, I start with the goals. What makes you think you want to get into real estate?
Mhm.
And what are your goals once you get in? What I find in our business, and you can talk to any real estate agent or broker, you're going to find that during low interest rates and our market changes, all of a sudden you are hearing from 50 agents where before you were hearing from 5 or 10, right? Why is that? Because now you can come in and possibly put a sign in the yard. You don't need to know anything like prior to 2007 when you could just put a sign in the yard and it's sold. I mean, today's market is very similar. We can put a sign in front of a house and it'll sell, but how many people qualify for it? So I think that for me, myself and my brokerage, I'm looking for agents who are looking for a long-term real estate career that want to stay in it. I'm not looking to make the fast buck off of somebody because for me, hiring an agent that is only there to get, 2 or 3 transactions because now I'm making an extra 20 grand a year or whatever, 30 grand is more of a liability to me than an assistance to my future business or theirs. Because they're
So,
not in it for the long term. They're not learning. Education is not important. It is about just making the sale to move on to the next level.
wow, that's kind of across the board of business. Whenever we're trying to hire someone, recruit someone to be in our business as well. So you had touched on prior to 2008 and 2008, 2006, 2007, 2008. And when the people call it the market crashed, right? And people were scampering, losing hold, interest rates were going up, bank bailouts and everything. At that time you had your business. What strategies did you have in place or did you put in place to make sure your business survived through that?
Wow. Talk about a crazy time. If you recall, during that time, we had what was called a negative amortization loan, which, are still somewhat available. Or were actually, they were always available. But the difference back at that time was those negative amortization mortgages, you were able to get them as long as you had a credit score, and that was all you needed. Really, you needed to just breathe into a glass mirror. Oh, yeah, you fit the criteria. But during that time, I saw this coming where it was going to crash because you cannot go into a loan with a stated income where anybody can buy a house as long as you have a good credit score,
Mhm.
but yet be able to maintain it. These were adjustable loans. You were paying interest only at a low level. People were not listening to the fact that these low interest rates were going to adapt or they were going to change, and
Yes.
therefore the market crashed. So you try to explain this stuff to people. People only hear what they want to hear. But then, there were also agents that told the story very nicely too. And even, I tried during that time to tell people this is not the loan for you, but
They want the house.
I don't recommend it. I lost it. I'll be honest with you. I lost a few clients because I told them the truth. And then I got a call back after and said, you were right. I should have listened to you because now I can't afford my house and I'm going to lose it.
Mhm.
Do you know how heartbreaking that is? I mean, as that just broke my heart. And it's just like, okay, well, let's figure this out. But so one of the things that I did is basically took a step back and said, okay, we need to walk through and talk to these people who are going, well, that was my first thing is I immediately went to my past clients and wanted to make sure that they were okay. And if not, let's walk you through the process to get you to where you need to be. The second thing I did is reached out to people who were struggling and did the same thing that weren't my clients, but needed the assistance.
Mhm.
So we walk them through that process. I'll tell you, Johnny, I had like 10 escrows, and I want you to know that when that crash, it went down to like one. People were out just canceling contracts right and left. And you're just sitting there going, whoa, you did. I mean, even you can, you know that there's going to be a problem, but can you fully be prepared for it? I don't know that you fully can be prepared for the media, uh, publishing, advertising that the market is going to crash. I want you to know San Diego was one of the last areas to come crashing down because the media actually pulled it down. To be honest with you, they made it way worse than what it was. But why
Oh,
is that? It's because you were hearing it 24 hours a day. Think about our media, how the news, you're hearing it over and over. So we had to go out and educate people. And
okay.
that's what I did.
What with those strategies that you did, and I do wish I knew you back in those days because me and my family were a victim of of those loans back in the day. And unfortunately, we lost the big house, and we lost our investment property house, which was my childhood home. So that kind of sucks, but we bounced
Yeah.
back. Now, with those same strategies, did you use those same strategies during the pandemic
Yes.
when the world shut down?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's about educating. And in all honesty, we're going through it. I don't know. I don't know if we've gone into it in detail in our networking meeting, but we're going through another one right
Okay.
now, and which is the National Association of Realtors and Sellers are no longer not. They were never obligated to pay a buyer's agent's commission, but the
Yeah,
sellers
about
would
that.
cover a buyer and a seller agent commission.
Mhm.
Okay, it was we took a 6% commission, and let me take a step backwards. Commissions have always been negotiable. So we negotiate with the seller. Okay, you want to sell your home? This is, what we charge. This is what we provide. For it's 5-6%, which is about the average what most realtors charge. But you saw the 1% brokers out there, and you saw the flat fee brokers out there. You've seen a lot. It's all up to what your expectation is on what you pay for. So, because you've got marketing, you got staging, you've got, your door knocking, you got all kinds of stuff that goes into a sale of a property. It's not just, okay, I'm going to hang the sign. Yeah, that works in certain markets, but not in every market and not at most of the time. Marketing is huge. And today, the government has taken away that sellers pay for the buyer's fees.
Okay.
Now, remember, you've got for sale by owners still out there. You've got, agents who can represent one side and not the other. Well, now buyers are responsible for their buyer agent fees. So be thankful you bought right now, that you already bought your house, because now the seller is going, okay, well, I thought I had to pay it. Well, no, you didn't. But here's why you should pay it is because when you pay for a buyer's agent's commission, you will get more offers on your property. You will have more people showing your property. And, the negotiation is going to be a lot better for all parties concerned.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in today's market, you as a buyer are going to, if you want to be represented, you are going to need to pay your buyer's real estate commission to purchase, or you don't have anybody helping you negotiate, navigating the contract, helping you through the inspection, helping you see the do's and don'ts of this. So there's going to be a lot of, for me, it's a lot of concern for the buyer, because now not only do you have to come in with down payment, you have to come in with the buyer's agent commission. It's going to be really tough. So it's going to change our market. Is it going to change the pricing? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to change it majorly, but I think that you're not going to have as many offers on the table.
Okay. With that commission situation that's going on, do you think a lot of people will be stepping away from the real estate industry, real estate business?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think um this is where the elite will stand out.
Okay.
Realtors, those who really do want to take care of their clients. And again, it's going to be an education process. But with that being said, I'd also like to say that one of the beautiful things about real estate, it is constantly changing. So what you're going to see, and I believe is going to happen, is the mortgage industry is going to have to adapt, because I don't know if you're aware, but VA buyers cannot
Mhm.
even pay a buyer commission fee. It
Oh,
You cannot get a VA loan. You can, you for a VA loan, it has to be paid through the seller. So we have to negotiate it. And it's always been negotiated. And if you think about it, when you buy a house, you're buying the house at the price, including the commission. So really, it's always been paid by both parties. So
okay.
in the truth of the matter. But now I think that we're going to see the mortgage companies are going to have to try to figure out, Fannie, Freddie, VA, how do we adjust to this? Because it is going to change how things are done. And for us as realtors and brokers, we have to educate the sellers that it's not a good idea not to offer that.
Okay. So as we're winding down, I got a couple of questions for you. If someone was to come and let's say a casual conversation and they were looking to get into some type of real estate for investing, for investing, would you in this current climate recommend residential, commercial, or land?
Residential, 1 to 4 units. I would not. Commercial is changing. The commercial market is changing quite a bit, actually. I think you're already seeing people pulling out of the commercial properties again. Interest rate has a lot to do with it, but the industries are changing, right? How many office spaces are being converted to residential units? How many shopping centers are being replaced by online shopping? I
Yeah.
mean, um, and in the past, it was like, well, I'm not going to work with you unless I can walk into your office and see you're legit and see who you are. In today's world, I don't care what your office looks like. I don't even care if I meet you in person. I'm fine doing it over Zoom if this is what it takes.
Mhm.
It's fine. So commercial is changing. So land is good if you have the ability or the financing to build, but not, you have to have a plan on building, and you have to realize that most land does not include utilities. So you are bringing water, sewer, electric, trash, everything to that property before you can even build anything. So you've got to have your engineers out there, you've got to have your soil engineers out there. It is not something for everybody to build. And I get a lot of this. Well, the market is so high. Let's find land that we can put a property on. Not so simple. Every piece of land states, yes, this is for residential property, or no, it's not. Can we change? And then if you want to change the zoning on the property, then you go through all of that prior to building and selling and so forth. So I think, yeah, as investors, if you have a group of investors all investing into something, yeah, land might be something, but you are looking long term. Most
Mm,
investors don't want to invest and have to take 5 years or more to build. It
right.
just depends.
Okay. So, Rosalinda, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, what is the best way, your contact information to get a hold of you? Because you're a valuable person, especially with the dual businesses combined
And
into one. Yeah.
right here,
Oh,
858-345-4966. That's my office number. That's for Realty World. Now, I do also represent, just so you know, if a client, I want to reiterate something. A client, because I have dual licenses, doesn't mean that you have to use me for both if you decide you want to use my services. I think that's key. I never require anyone to work with me on both sides of the table. Yes, I will put it out there if I'm available, but this is not mandated. I do work with realtors and do only the mortgage side. And I don't, try to take over their business. I basically am there for whatever need you require. So if it's only buying real estate or selling real estate, I'm there. If it's only mortgage, I'm there. Or if you really just want a one-stop shop, I'm there. So
excellent.
I thought I'd throw that out. But my direct cell phone number is 619-517-7060. And my website is realtyworldmysandiego.com.
Well, Miss Rosalinda Ramirez, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you for
time.
having
Let you
me.
know more about your business, everything that you offer, some insight of the past, of the future, and the present. I really, really appreciate your time. And everybody
You're
else that's listening to our podcast, I greatly appreciate you guys. If you guys can please like, subscribe, and share on every platform that you guys can hear this on, we greatly appreciate it. And until next time,